Good morning, YouTube. I'm back doing another one of these because some people didn't seem to hate the last one, which was nice of them. And because there's one thing in particular I wanted to talk about on here, and that is the UK National Census. Yay, a video about government statistics. This will be fun. Here in Britain, the last census happened in 2001, and because that was 10 years ago now, we've got another one coming up at the end of this month. By this month, I mean March 2011, just for those of you watching in the future on your hovercars or 3D space goggles. This is why I should not ad lib. The census is the government's attempt to find out who actually lives in this country, how much money they're making, how many children they have, and, pertinently, what religion they are. The census in 2001 indicated that 71.8% of this country were Christian, but some other surveys since then have asked people some slightly less leading questions, and when you look at what they say they actually believe, that Christian majority starts to look a little shaky. For instance, there was a poll in 2007 which asked people, do you consider yourself to be a religious person? To which 62% of people said no. Another question in that same poll asked how many people endorsed the statement, this life is the only life we have and death is the end of our personal existence. That was endorsed by 41% of the people polled. It's been a while since I've read much of the Bible, but I don't remember that being a part of God's eternal promise to his people. And even outside of the polls, people just aren't doing very Christian-y things as much as they used to. For instance, in 2008, there were about 270,000 marriages. About 1 in 5 of these took place in a church. Of the babies that were born, about 1 in 9 were baptised. And only about a third of recorded deaths, I mean the stuff that happens after the deaths, the funerals and cremations and so on, only about a third of those went through a church at all. We don't seem to behave like a Christian country, and saying that the majority of people in this country are Christians is quite misleading. A lot of people tick Christian on the form out of habit. They don't want to go so far as to say they have no religion. They still probably do Christmas and think that sort of counts. But if you're not really religious, you probably have quite different priorities from the people who are actually devout Christians. And the reason this is important is that if the government think we're a predominantly Christian country, they can use this to justify all sorts of policies which most people don't actually want, like faith schools, government faith advisors, keeping unelected bishops in the House of Lords, allowing people to discriminate against basically whoever they want under the guise of respecting their religious faith, and thought for the fucking day. And all of this is why the British Humanist Association have been plugging their Census Campaign, to try and make people more aware of all that stuff I was just saying, and to try and persuade people who aren't religious to describe themselves as such on the census, so that non-religious people have a better chance of being fairly represented in future conversations about the demographics of this country. Which sounds like a pretty good idea. And I support this campaign. Kind of petered out a bit at the end there, but that's about it. Oh yeah, and in the last census, nearly 400,000 people did this really hilarious thing where they put down Jedi Knight as their religion on the form, you know, like out of Star Wars, they were on the, yeah, don't do that, it doesn't help.